Ethan Hale had always believed space stations were quiet places. Machines hummed, lights stayed steady, and everything followed rules written long before he arrived. Kara's research station had been no different until the alarms began. They were not loud alarms, they were worse. Slow, heavy tones that meant the station had already decided something was wrong. Ethan was in the engineering bay, floating slightly as he worked on a power relay. When the sound echoed through the metal halls, his body tensed by habit. He pushed himself away from the wall and grabbed the nearest rail. "Station AI," he said calmly. "Status." There was a pause, too long. "Meteor impact detected," the AI finally replied. "Multiple external damages, emergency lockdown initiated." Ethan frowned. How bad? "All long-range communication arrays are offline, docking systems disabled, estimated repair time unknown." Ethan exhaled slowly. Unknown was never good. He pulled himself through the corridor toward the central hub, boots clanging softly as gravity slowly increased to emergency levels. The station lights dimmed to a pale blue, the color of long-term survival mode. As he turned the corner, he saw Lurothy standing near the observation window. She was very still. To most species in the galaxy, Lyra was striking. Tall, slender, her skin carried a faint silver-blue tone that reflected light like water under moonlight. Thin bioluminescent lines ran along her neck and arms, pulsing softly when she was calm. Right now, they flickered unevenly. Ethan slowed his steps. He had known Lyra for 5 years, ever since his mother married her father, an alien diplomat from the Velari Union. They were family by law, not blood. They had grown up on different worlds, met as adults, and learned how to exist together through shared meals and careful respect. She usually greeted him with a nod or a quiet comment about station data. Today, she did not turn around. "Lyra," he said. "I heard the alarms," she replied. Her voice was steady, but the light patterns on her skin betrayed tension. "The station has sealed, hasn't it?" "Yes," Ethan said, "but we've handled worse. It'll take time, that's all." She finally turned to face him. Her eyes were darker than usual, pupils wide. "This timing," she said softly, "is extremely unfortunate." Ethan noticed her hands were clenched. That was not normal for her species. The Velari valued composure above all else. "What's wrong?" he asked. Lyra hesitated. For a moment she seemed to be calculating something, risk, trust, consequences. Then she spoke. "My species enters a biological phase every cycle," she said. "It is called the convergence." Ethan nodded slowly. He had read some alien biology files, but Velari data was often restricted. "It is commonly translated as mating season," she continued. "But that description is incomplete." Her bioluminescent lines brightened, then dimmed again. "During this phase, our neural systems destabilize," she said. "Instinctive responses intensify, judgment weakens, physical systems require strict environmental control." Ethan felt a cold weight settle in his chest. "And this station is not configured for it," Lyra said. "Normally, I would be in a regulated isolation chamber on Velar Prime." Ethan glanced around the sealed hub. Emergency bulkheads, limited medical systems, one human engineer, one alien scientist. "And if you do?" he asked. Lyra met his gaze. "The failure rate is significant." Silence filled the space between them. Ethan did not panic. Panic never helped. Instead, his mind shifted into problem-solving mode the same way it always did. "Okay," he said. "Then we treat this like any other survival issue. We adapt." She looked at him sharply. "It is not that simple." "It never is," he replied, "but we're still here." The station AI interrupted them. "Life support resources are stable for 2 occupants. Medical bay functionality at 42%. Ethan sighed. "Figures." Lyra's breathing had changed. Slightly faster, her skin patterns flickered more often now. "The convergence has already begun," she said quietly. "Being confined increases the risk." Ethan took a careful step closer, stopping well short of her personal space. "Then tell me what you need." She seemed surprised by the question. "Alien protocols require distance," she said. "Isolation, minimal interaction." "And yet," Ethan said, "you're standing here instead of locking yourself in a storage module." Lyra looked away. "Because isolation without proper systems can be fatal," Ethan nodded once. "Then we won't isolate you blindly." She studied him. "You do not understand what you are offering." "I understand this," he said simply. "You're family and you're in trouble." The word family made her bioluminescent lines pause, then glow softly. They moved to the medical bay together. Ethan ran diagnostics, bypassing half-functioning panels with practiced ease. The station AI protested but complied. As he worked, Lyra sat on the medical platform, hands resting stiffly on her knees. "Human emotional regulation is unusual," she said suddenly. Ethan didn't look up. "We get that a lot." "No," she said. "Unusual even among comparative studies. Most species experience increased stress in confined emergencies." "And humans?" he asked. "Your stress responses often focus outward," she said. "On action, on responsibility." Ethan shrugged. "Worry later, fix now." He finished adjusting the room's lighting, lowering it to a warmer spectrum. He altered the gravity slightly, just enough to reduce physical strain. Lyra exhaled slowly. "That helps," she admitted. "Good," Ethan said. "What else?" She hesitated again. "Presence." He paused, then turned to face her. "Meaning?" "Valari neural systems respond to stable external patterns," she explained. "Sound, movement, emotional consistency." Ethan frowned. "You're saying you need company." "Yes," she said, "but not stimulation, just steadiness." He considered that. "I can do steady." As hours passed, the station remained sealed. Outside, debris drifted past the observation windows like silent ghosts. Lyra's condition fluctuated. At times, she seemed calm, almost normal. At others, her breathing quickened, and her bioluminescent lines pulsed erratically. Each time, Ethan adjusted something: temperature, lighting, background noise. When systems failed, he improvised. When the AI warned him of protocol violations, he ignored it. "You are disregarding established medical doctrine," the AI said at one point. "Noted," Ethan replied. "Add it to the report." Lyra watched him from the medical platform. "Most would have left," she said. "Can't," Ethan replied. "Station's locked." "That is not what I mean." He glanced at her, then went back to his work. "Humans don't leave people behind if we can help it." Her eyes softened. As the convergence deepened, Lyra struggled more often. She spoke of sensations she could barely describe, conflicting instincts, emotional surges she found frightening. Ethan listened without judgment. He told her stories about Earth, about storms that trapped people indoors for days, about long nights where humans learned to endure by simply being there for one another. The station AI began recording anomalous data. "Valari subject stability exceeding expected parameters," it noted. Neither of them paid attention. By the end of the first cycle, Lyra was exhausted, but alive, clear-minded enough to speak without strain. "The galaxy believes humans are aggressive," she said quietly. "Dangerous." Ethan smiled faintly. "Sometimes we are." "But this," she said, gesturing weakly around them, "this is a different kind of strength." Ethan leaned back against the wall, arms crossed. "We're good at staying." Outside, the debris field slowly cleared. And somewhere beyond the station, the galaxy remained unaware that one human, doing what came naturally, was already changing what it believed about his species. The second cycle began without warning. Ethan noticed it first in the station's quiet. Machines still hummed, but there was a new uneven rhythm in the air, like something breathing too fast. He checked the monitors and frowned. Lyra's neural readings were spiking again, sharper than before. She was sitting on the medical platform, shoulders stiff, eyes unfocused. "Lyra," he said gently, "talk to me." She blinked, as if pulling herself back from a distant place. "I am here," she said, but her voice sounded strained. "The convergence is intensifying." Ethan moved slowly, careful not to startle her. He adjusted the lighting again, lowering it further. The soft glow reduced the harsh reflections on her skin. "What's different this time?" he asked. "My instincts are louder," she said. "They are demanding." Ethan nodded. He did not ask for details. He had learned that pushing too hard only increased her stress. "Okay," he said. "Then we make the environment quieter." He rerouted power to dampen vibration in the walls. He lowered station noise to near silence, leaving only a steady pulse of background sound he generated himself, a simple rhythm, slow and even. Lyra's bioluminescent lines reacted almost immediately. Their flicker slowed. "That frequency," she said softly. "It matches Valari resting cycles." Ethan allowed himself a small smile. Lucky guess. It was not luck. He had been watching her patterns for hours, learning without realizing it. As time passed, the station AI began issuing warnings more frequently. "Medical protocol deviation increasing," it stated. "Recommends subject isolation." Ethan did not look up. "Recommendation denied." You do not have authority, log it, Ethan interrupted. I'll take responsibility. The AI fell silent. Lyra watched him closely. You risk consequences for this. Story of my life, he replied. She hesitated, then spoke more quietly. If I lose control, I do not wish to cause harm. Ethan met her gaze. You won't. You cannot know that. I know this, he said. You're fighting it. That matters. Her hands trembled slightly. Ethan noticed and adjusted the gravity again, easing the strain on her muscles. Why do you stay so calm? She asked suddenly. He thought about it. Because freaking out doesn't fix anything. That is not an answer, he smiled faintly. Humans grow up dealing with things we can't control. Whether time, loss, we learn to breathe and keep going. She absorbed that in silence. Hours later, the station shuddered as debris struck its outer hull. Emergency lights flashed briefly. Lyra flinched. Her bioluminescent lines surged bright, almost painful to look at. Ethan reacted instantly. He stepped closer, still careful, lowering his voice. It's okay, he said. Hull integrity is stable. Her breathing was rapid now. Her eyes reflected fear, not of him, but of herself. I am losing balance, she whispered. Ethan made a decision. He sat down on the floor a short distance from her, placing himself within her field of vision but not touching her. Focus on me, he said calmly. Just my voice. The station AI protested again, but Ethan ignored it. Describe something stable, he continued. Something familiar. She struggled, then spoke. The water gardens of Velar Prime, the pools never move unless guided. Good, Ethan said. Keep going. As she spoke, her breathing slowly synced with the rhythm he had created. The light patterns on her skin steadied. The AI recorded another anomaly. Subject stabilization increasing, it noted. Cause unidentified. Days blurred together. The station remained locked, repairs impossible without external help. Supplies were enough, but barely. Ethan slept in short shifts, always within reach. Lyra rested when she could, though true sleep was rare. During one quiet period, Lyra spoke again. Ethan, she said, my people believe humans are volatile. Fair, he replied. We kind of are. They believe proximity during the convergence is dangerous. And yet, he asked, and yet I am alive, she said, and aware. She turned her head to look at him. Your presence stabilizes me more than any system. Ethan felt a strange, tight toggle in his chest. I'm just being here. That is not just anything, she replied. The station AI interrupted with a new alert. External signal detected, unidentified vessel approaching. Ethan's head snapped up. Finally, but Lyra stiffened. They must not intervene yet. Why? Ethan asked. If they enforce protocol, she said, they will remove me. Isolation now could undo everything. Ethan clenched his jaw. Then we make sure they understand. The alien patrol vessel docked carefully. Through the comm screen appeared a Velari officer, eyes sharp with concern. Lurathy, the officer said, your readings are highly irregular. They are, Lyra replied calmly, but they are stable. The officer's gaze shifted to Ethan. Human, you are violating medical doctrine. Ethan leaned forward. With respect, doctrine didn't account for this situation. The officer hesitated. Explain. Lyra spoke before Ethan could. Human neural consistency is acting as an external regulator. Silence followed. That is impossible, the officer said. And yet, Ethan said quietly, here we are. The patrol vessel requested data. The station AI transmitted everything it had recorded. Minutes passed. Your survival rate exceeds expected thresholds, the officer admitted. By a wide margin. Lyra's voice was steady now. Because I was not alone. The officer studied them both. This will require review. Ethan shrugged. Happy to help. When the transmission ended, Ethan finally allowed himself to sit back fully, exhaustion catching up. Lyra watched him. You are very tired. Yeah, he admitted. Worth it. Her bioluminescent lines glowed softly, a Velari sign of gratitude. The second cycle ended with Lyra stable, her mind clear, her body recovering faster than any record predicted. Outside, rescue crews prepared to clear the remaining debris. Inside, two beings from different worlds sat in quiet understanding. The galaxy was about to learn something new, and neither of them yet realized how much that knowledge would change everything. The third cycle arrived more gently than the others, but it carried a deeper weight. Ethan noticed the change when the station lights no longer needed constant adjustment. The readings on the medical display were steadier now. Lyra's neural spikes still appeared, but they rose and fell like waves instead of breaking storms. She stood near the observation window, watching the stars beyond the thinning debris field. Her posture was straighter than before, though there was still fatigue in her movements. "You are smiling," she said without turning. Ethan hadn't realized he was. "Guess I am." "Why?" she asked. "Because you're standing," he replied. "A few days ago, that wasn't guaranteed," she nodded slowly. "No, it was not." The station AI spoke softly. "Rescue operations will commence in 12 standard hours." Ethan let out a breath he felt like he'd been holding for days. "Finally!" Lyra remained quiet, he noticed. "What's wrong?" She turned to face him. Her bioluminescent lines glowed in calm, even patterns. "When this ends," she said, "everything changes." "Yeah," Ethan said. "We go home, paperwork, debriefs, long lectures." "That is not what I mean," she replied. She stepped closer, stopping at a respectful distance. "My people will study this. They will study you." Ethan shrugged. "Humans get studied a lot." "They will classify your presence as a medical variable," she continued. "A stabilizing factor," he frowned. "I'm not a machine." "Exactly," she said. "That is why this is difficult for them." The convergence was nearing its peak. This phase was often the most dangerous, not because of instinct alone, but because exhaustion made mistakes more likely. Ethan prepared for it the same way he had prepared for everything else. He checked systems. He stocked supplies. He stayed close. The station shuddered once as repair drones latched onto the hull. Lyra's breathing quickened slightly. "I'm here," Ethan said automatically. "I know," she replied. As the peak approached, Lyra experienced brief moments of disorientation. Nothing like before, but enough to concern him. Each time Ethan grounded her with steady conversation. He spoke about small things, earth foods, gravity sports, rain. "Rain?" she asked once. "Water falling from the sky," he explained. "People complain about it, but we miss it when it's gone." "That sounds inefficient," she said. He smiled. "Humans aren't built for efficiency. We're built for endurance." The medical display flashed green more often now. Then unexpectedly, the station AI issued a high-priority alert. "External command override detected." Ethan stiffened. "What does that mean?" "Velari High Medical Authority has assumed remote oversight," the AI replied. Lyra closed her eyes briefly. "They are accelerating review." A new holographic display activated. Several Velari officials appeared, their expressions serious. "Lurathi," the lead authority said, "your survival metrics are unprecedented." "Yes," she replied calmly. "Human presence has been identified as a primary factor," the authority continued. "We must determine if this constitutes dependency." Ethan folded his arms. "She's not dependent, she's supported." The official looked at him sharply. "Your distinction is noted, human." Lyra straightened. "I was never compelled, I was respected." There was silence. "Proceed," the authority said. "Explain." Lyra spoke clearly. She described Ethan's actions, his restraint, his patience, his refusal to treat her as a problem to be solved rather than a person. "He did not control," she said. "He remained." The officials exchanged glances. "This contradicts established Velari doctrine," one said. Ethan sighed. "Doctrine changes when reality proves it wrong." The transmission ended without resolution. Ethan rubbed his face. "That didn't feel settled." "It was not," Lyra agreed, "but it was heard." The final hours of the convergence passed quietly. When it ended, it did not announce itself. There was no dramatic shift, just a slow easing. Lyra exhaled deeply, a breath she had not taken fully in days. "It is over," she said. Ethan waited a moment, then smiled. "You did it." "We did," she corrected. Rescue teams boarded the station hours later. Humans and Velari moved through the corridors, scanning, repairing, restoring. Medical officers surrounded Lyra, their instruments beeping in confusion. "These readings," one muttered, "they are stable." Ethan stepped back, suddenly unsure of his place. Lyra noticed. She reached out, not touching, but close enough that he could feel her presence. "Do not disappear now," she said softly. He chuckled. "Wouldn't dream of it." The official reports took days, then weeks. Ethan sat in briefing rooms, answering the same questions again and again. "What did you do?" "Stayed calm." "Why did you remain?" "Because leaving felt wrong." The galaxy listened. Velari medical councils revised ancient protocols. Other species took notice. Humans, it turned out, were not just survivors of harsh worlds. They were anchors, beings who could sit in chaos and refuse to let it rule them. Lyra addressed the council personally. "Humanity should no longer be categorized as volatile only," she said. "They are stabilizers, not through force, but through will." Ethan watched from the gallery, uncomfortable with the attention. Later, as they prepared to leave Kara's station for the last time, Lyra stood beside him at the docking bay. "Our bond will be questioned," she said. He nodded. "Let them question." She looked at him. "You did not save me because you had to?" "No," he said. "I saved you because you mattered." Her bioluminescent lines glowed warmly, a Valari expression of deep respect. As the ship pulled away, the station shrinking behind them, Ethan felt something settle inside him. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, uncertain. But now it knew something important. When others broke, humans stayed. And sometimes, staying was the strongest thing of all.